Ray tube amusement device actually is a device that records and controls the quality of an electronic signal. Video games are notoriously difficult to identify in the negative. The most common definition is an interactive video, but some video games only use certain different areas of perception such as sound, vibration for touch. Some experimental video games use taste and smell too to play. When video games were starting out, technology was limited. It was not until the late 1960s or early 70s that the video game industry really took off. Traditionally, before electronic games took off, the pinball machines were the thing that took up the most space and attention in an arcade. The entire industry began to change with the invention of home consoles and their affordability and availability. This is increase allowed for the large expansion of game developer growth and increase their overall enterprise of the game.
The increased attention of the video game industry started in the 1960s and 1970s. This was due to increase of technology and how it became more easy to create computers and arcade games. Because of this, arcade gaming started to popularize the arcades, as in arcade games. So you had slot machines or coin machines that would be used to play games such as Pacman, Pong, Space Invaders, so on and so forth. It wasn't until later with the advancement of first gen that this really took off. Console gaming. The first and second generation of consoles was the Magnavox, Atari and Nintendo. The first and second generation consoles were very similar in premise. The main difference in them was how games could be designed and implemented between them. Third generation consoles such as Sega and Nintendo. It was not until the NES that faith in gaming was restored, in particular thanks to Super Mario Bros. And Sega console games such as Sonic. Next came the fourth generation consoles, Mega Drive and the Super Famicom. Many people overlook fourth generation consoles because their jump in technology varied from game to game. Though fourth generation was the most important step from the transition to 2D gaming to 3D gaming.
Main consoles transitioned to 3D, PlayStation 1 and Nintendo 64. This generation marked a true step in 3D gaming and is known as the generation that made video games truly international.
Probably the generation we most identify with today is the 7th generation console, such as Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 and Wii. This is probably the main generation where Sony, Microsoft and Nintendo have been fairly even in their attention, sales, popularity and gaming.
Third-party gaming content is traditionally made by third-party developers. These third-party developers are usually people who are not supported by a publisher, a large organisation or other forms of distribution.
The amount of video game sales come from Apple stores and Play stores which are sold on Samsung's smartphones, Apple phones, iPhones. Not to mention the advancement in game making technology these days. Software accessibility of Android devices make them one of the best places to make selling third-party video games in the industry today.
Free-to-play games are based all over the place, and a great example is Steam. A lot of the third-party developers will put their games on there for free as a kind of portfolio. Once they grow, they might become second-party developers and if given enough funding and development.